In this video, I'll be guiding you through a step-by-step tutorial on how you can apply for a visit visa for your mother online. It's actually different from inviting any other family member, friends, relation, colleagues, or whoever. Let's get started. POF.uk. We're looking for visit visa. Anyone you click is going to give you what you want. Let's jump right in and start the application. The first thing asks for which language we want. English if you're an English person. If not, you can select the language that applies to you, and then we click on next. After that, it selects the country where your mom would be going for her biometrics. For the person I'm making this application for, she's currently in Nigeria, so I'll be selecting Nigeria. Now press next. I have to confirm that there is a visa application center in Nigeria because not all countries have a visa application center. So if this country, for instance, does not have a visa application center, they'll give me the nearest country I can go for this. So Nigeria has a visa application center. I already know this, so I'm going to click I have identified. If Nigeria did not really have, I would have clicked this one, but for me to confirm if the country has or not, this is the place you would click. We're going to click next because I know that the country has a visa center. And now, like they've said before, you can use this service to apply for a UK visit visa if you're coming for tourism, business, transit, and all of that. I've already read these guidance, so we don't have to go back to it. All these things we've already read through them, so we don't have to go through them anymore. So we go straight to start. The first thing they'll ask you for, these are the steps we need to go through for our visa application to be completed. This is the first part, the main application proper, where you fill in all the details and the documents you need to upload, and then the declaration, the amount you pay, and then finally your appointment date that you will book for her to go to biometric center. So you have to fill in an address that is correct. Doesn't matter if it's her own or your own. It has to be an email address that whoever is filling the form can access, because that is where they will send you the link to log in. Next thing they'll ask you is password, according to how it's been requested for here, uppercase, lowercase, number, and symbol. You have to confirm the password is correct. If not, it's not going to go through. So it should be correct now. Yes, but just letting you know, they will contact you via email. So everything, all the information they will want to pass across, it's this email they will send it to. So you should use an email you can always access, you can always go back to. If not, you miss out on information. We would confirm that this email address belongs to you who is filling the form, and then we can save and continue. They'll ask you if you have an additional email. There is no need to say yes, because since it's your mom you're filling in the application for, one person's email is enough to get everything you need. So we'll go ahead and fill in phone number. I'm just going to be filling dummy details in for now, just to put you through this first part. I'll still come back and edit them to the correct details. You have to put phone number, and it can be phone number, your own phone number, or her own phone number. If it's your own phone number, you will state it is the one that is being used while in the UK. If it's her own phone number, definitely it has to be for use outside the UK, and choose any of the above. If it's mobile telephone number or home or business, you can always select that. Then you click save and continue. Next is, there is no need to put more than one phone number, and you can select you want to be contacted via telephone and text message. This is actually important because sometimes when they want to send details and you selected only one option, if they're not able to access you with only one option, you've lost that information at that point. So it's best to tick that you want them to try either of these two to get across to you. So next is her name. If you are the one filling in the form for her, everything you'll be filling in will be her details. To get to the place where they will ask you for your own details, first of all, we put her first name, let's say first, and family name. This family name will be her surname, her current surname. Then you go next, And then this any other names, if she has a maiden name, this is the part where you select yes. If she did not make any change of name, you can go ahead and say no. And then I'll go ahead and save for them to give me the option to put in the maiden name. It will still give you two options. If she has a separate name, like middle name for instance, remember in the first part before this place, they only ask for first name and last name. So this is the best place to put in her middle name and then her maiden name if she has a maiden name. So middle name and also maiden name. Don't bother that I am using dummy information. I can always come back to edit it. There's always option to edit all these things. So if your mom still has another name that's not being reflected in these last two places we filled, you can click yes. If not, you can say no and move ahead to the next option. Then your mom's sex, obviously female, and then what is her relationship status. Now this part is very important and I'll tell you why. If your mom is a widow, you would have to bring more documents to support this application, because once her husband is no longer alive, it is assumed that she doesn't have so many things tying her back to her country compared to someone whose husband is still alive. Obviously, once her husband is still alive, after her however number of months visit in the UK, 6 months maximum, she must come back to her husband. Or in the case where her husband is not alive, you need to bring more documents to support her application to prove that even though the husband is not alive, she will still go back. So if your mom is married, you can always put that. Whatever her marital status, you can always put that. If you're also not sure of her current status, you can always click this one. Then we'll go to the next page. This is her address, where she's living currently. And then you can put in the address according to how it's written, with the town and the city and the postal code and the country. My client is in Nigeria, so this is going to be Nigeria. And when they say, is this address your correspondence address, what this means is this also the address where they will send you any information via letters? If it is, say yes. If not, say no and fill in the correspondence address. So I've clicked yes and I'm moving on to the next question. They want to know how long you have lived at this address. You can say yes. Let's say she has lived in her location for 5 years. You put 5 years. If she's renting it, you can say she's renting it. If she owns it, you can say she owns it. So I'll go ahead and say that she's renting it. And then next question is her passport number. You just fill in her passport number. And then issuing authority. My client is in Nigeria and the issuing authority is Nigerian. And this is the date the passport was given and the date it will expire. We'll move to the next page. If she has a national ID card, this is the part where you say yes. If not, you can say no. So my client has a national ID card, so I'm just going to fill in the details once I am doing that. And the issuing authority is still Nigeria. Then this is optional. The national ID card does not have an expiry date, so I'm not going to put anything there. I'm going to just go to the next option. And then her nationality. Her nationality is Nigerian, and her country of birth is also Nigerian. And her place of birth, this is usually on the passport. You can check and see what location she was given birth to, and you can fill it in there. It has to correspond with what is on the passport. So your mom's date of birth, this is going to be 1970. Next question, let's continue. If there's any nationality which is not Nigerian, like for my client, she's only a Nigerian, she doesn't have any other nationality, so I'm going to click on no and click save and move on. So my client is self-employed, she has her own business, so I'm going to select self-employed and move on next. So if at any point in time you feel you want to pause this application and come back later, probably something is calling your attention, or you are tired, or you just want to just pause this application and come back exactly to this point we are in, you can always click return to this application later. Once you click on that, to open the link, you can copy and they can send the link directly to your email. So when you're ready, you go to your email and click on it and come back to the application. If you feel you want to correct something that you've written so far, you can always click show and edit answers, and then to show you all you filled in so far, where you will see if there's anything you need to change. If there's nothing, you continue. So let me show you how to save your form and come back. Once I click on this, they'll give me a link that I can copy and save somewhere. So when I want to come back to the form, start exactly from where I stop, I will just click on the link, or I can ask them to send it to my email, and once I do, they will send it to my email. So let me go to my email and then show you the link. And once I click on it, it's going to take me right back into where we stopped. So if I just click on resume my old application, it's just going to take me right back to where we log in. So you can see it brought me right back into where we stopped. Let's continue. Next question is self-employment details. This is because we selected that my client is self-employed. If she had selected maybe she's employed or a student or any other options there, this part of the form will show her appropriately what to fill in. So here I'm going to put in trader because she's a business person. And how much do you earn from this job in a year? You can put this in pounds, you can put this in naira. If you're putting it in pounds, you need to do conversion rate. Let's say 1 million. This part of the form is quite important because it's from her earnings. They would know if she can support herself or she can support you to support herself if you're the one sponsoring her. You're her whole sponsor, yes, but she doesn't fill in anything for herself. It doesn't give her application a good start. So no matter how little she earns in a year, fill it in. You have to be consistent with the figure you fill in here, the figure that comes in after this one, and when you're putting in her statement of account as proof of funds, you have to make sure that anything you're filling in here is corresponding. It mustn't be exact match, but it should be something very close that whoever is going through the application, we know that you know what you're doing. If she's the one sponsoring herself, she needs to have a bigger income, because if you look at current price of Nigerian naira to pounds, it's on the very high side, and this 1 million is roughly about 500 pounds. That's not even enough for just flight tickets, so the money has to be more than this 1 million if she's the full sponsor for herself. Next, we'll move on to the income and savings. Before you even fill in these points, you need to sit and make proper calculations to be sure you know what you're filling in. If it means you contacting your mom to know how much she makes, to know how much she spends, and the figure needs to make sense. The figure, the income, the savings, they all need to make sense. None should raise any questions. Here, they said if she has any other income or any savings, you can put that in here. You can, like you can see, allowance, pension, investment, or any other income, you can select appropriately. In this case, I'm going to fill in that she's getting money from her family. If there are other options that relate to your mom, you can pick that. And the total amount of regular income, which is the amount she gets from her children, I'm going to fill in, let's say, another 1 million per year. And if she also has savings, it's also good to state that here, no matter how little. For this one, we have to fill it in pounds. Say she has savings of 1 million, that's roughly 500 pounds. So put it in there, 500 pounds. If she doesn't have any other source of income or any savings at all, please do well to click this box, because anything that is not matching here, when it gets to the point where you need to put proof of funds and you're not bringing in anything that is making sense, it's going to be an issue. So best for you to fill in what you are sure will not cause any problem along the line. Then we'll move on to the next question, which is cost of your visits. In this place, I would recommend she fill in something, even if she's not the one sponsoring herself. Fill in something no matter how little, because it would be good if she fills in that she's going to support herself, not just hoping you will take over everything, even though we know you will. And this will only work if she has money in her bank account, which she'll be using for the proof of funds. You can fill that in here no matter how little, even if it's just like 50,000 out of like the 1 million she has that she's bringing. Here is the question where she's asked how much she spends in a month. So we can put that in naira. Feel free to put this in pounds if it's better for you. Just remember you need to convert it to the current rate and fill that in. What she spends in a month, including rent, feeding, and if she has children she's taking care of. Remember, we'll put 50,000 as what she will spend on her visit, and she earns 1 million naira a year. So in this case, for my dummy answers, I'm going to use 1 million divided by 12 months and then fill that in. It mustn't be the exact figure. In your own case, you have to call your mom, know what she spends in a month, and you have to make sure the amount is matching with what she earns in a year, because you cannot tell me someone is earning 1 million a year and in a month they are spending 300,000, which means your 1 million earning will be finished in 3 months. Then what happens to the rest of the months? You can raise eyebrows if the things here are not matching or if they are looking too bogus. In this case, she earns 1 million a year divided by 12 months. We're looking at roughly 80,000. Yeah, that's it. And then we'll go to the next question. Will anyone be paying towards the cost of your visit? Yes, if you would be sponsoring her, and no, if she would sponsor herself alone. So in this case, my client is sponsoring her mom. She's going to say yes. Next question. Now, this is where you specify who would be sponsoring you. If it's a family, if it's a company, or any organization at all. So in my client's case, she is the one sponsoring her mother. So she's going to say family or friend. Now this is the part where she will fill in her own details as the sponsor. In this case, it's say sponsor details, address. This is her address in the UK and the town. She's going to fill this in appropriately. If you're the sponsor, ensure you fill in every details correctly. And if it's somebody else not in the UK, if for instance your brother, your sister, your friend, someone else is sponsoring your mother, this is also a good place to fill that in. This is going to be the amount the sponsor will be paying towards your mom's coming. You can choose to fill in either the amount in pounds or in naira. Is up to you. This is also a part where you need to do a little bit of mathematics. In this case, you need to consider flight ticket. What is the current amount of flight tickets? What is the current amount of visa application fee that you are paying? That is depending on how many years visa you're paying. Like I mentioned in the video guide, the 6 months visa is different, the 2 years visa, 5 years and 10 years, they all have different prices. So let's say for instance you're taking 6 months visa, you have to know how much that is. You also have to know how much feeding will cost for the number of months your mom will be in the UK. When you put all these things into consideration, then you can arrive at a very reasonable figure. Anything you fill in here can also raise eyebrows if it doesn't make sense. You cannot say you're providing, let's say for instance, 2 million naira as a sponsor for your mother to come to the UK. It's not even going to go anywhere, because as of today, 2 million naira is roughly 1,000 pounds. 1,000 pounds is just flight ticket. So what about the visa fee? What about accommodation? What about any miscellaneous? So you need to show that you have enough money. Most of the applications I've gone, people usually fill from 3,000 above. This is dependent on how much you can show you have in your statement of accounts. If you're filling in like 4,000 and you don't have up to 4,000 in your own statement of accounts, you're not going anywhere with it. If you're living with your partner, it's better you both bring in your statement of accounts and put in a good figure there. I may have to convert it to naira, or I can put it in pounds just to save me the stress of converting it to naira. I've always done from 3,000 and above. I have not really had any application where I filled anything less. It's better you even have more than this. In this case, why are they helping pay for your visit? For this answer, it actually depends on why you're inviting her. If it's for maybe you're having a baby, you want her to come stay with your baby, or it's for your wedding, or it's for a different occasion, whatever the purpose of the visit, you have to tailor this particular answer to the purpose of the visit. Let me fill that in. You can leave it at this, or you can decide to explain more. Another thing that also affects this answer is who is inviting. If for instance you, the daughter or the son or the in-law, is not the one sponsoring her, maybe it's a friend or someone else, it also determines what you state here. But in this case, my client is the one inviting her mother. That's why I'm filling in this. This is the most basic answer I've used several times for the applications I've done for my clients. If it's for wedding, for instance, you can change this here. I'm visiting her to attend her wedding or her birthday or her baby's naming ceremony or her graduation. If it's for something else, you can tweak it to what it is. Then I'll move to the next question. If it's not just you who is paying towards the cost of the visit, you can add that there will be someone else paying. But if it's just you, you can just say no and move on to the next question. Next question is date she plans to arrive in the UK. This particular answer is not set in stone. So even if you fill in a date here, it mustn't be this is the exact date she would leave to the UK or she would travel out of the UK. But it's good you put in something that is close to when she will travel to the UK and when she will travel back to her home country. Before you fill in something here, you need to look at the date you're filling in the application. you need to leave at least 3 weeks gap before you pick a date here. This is only if you will not use a priority or super priority visa application. These type of visa applications are the ones that she will get her visa within a day or 5 days. You don't want to fix a date that will be before the visa itself is out. So if today's date is 3rd of March, I'm going to leave 1 month gap. We're looking at 7th of April 2025. I would say 7th of September 2025. Even if the visa comes later than expected, she can leave even after this date. It is just to give the UK government a rough idea of what the travel plan is like. Next question. This is just for her to state what language she would want to be spoken to. English. If she doesn't speak English, you can always fill in order and select what language it is. In some cases, she will have to come with her own translator because she may go to the visa application center and realize that she cannot see someone who speaks the language she wants. Your mom can always go with someone to the visa application center if you feel she's going to struggle with doing anything there. This question is for the main reason for your visit. You can always select whatever reason it is that your mom is coming to the UK to visit you for. In my client's case, it is to visit family, which is tourism. If yours is for business or for academic or medical treatment, whichever one it is, you can select appropriately. This tourism covers wedding, birthdays, for delivery, even just to come see you. This order is only if the reasons for her visit is not under these other options. Next question is the main reason for the holiday visit. Even if she's coming for vacation, but she's coming to stay with you, like visit you as a family, it's best you choose this one. This tourist one is usually on a different level. Next question. In this place, you just have to state exactly what she's coming to do in the UK and if there's anything else she's planning to do in the UK. Try to avoid anything you know is not permitted in the UK. I'm going to write the answers I usually write for cases like this. I always tweak it so it doesn't appear the same in all the applications I do. This is the basic answer I fill in most of the applications. I always tweak it to fit into what I am submitting the application for. If you want to pick ideas from here, feel free to do that, but always tweak it to fit what you are filling in and to have a more personal tone. Next question. This is where your mom is going to fill in her husband's details if he's still alive. If he's not, they won't bring out this option because remember we filled in at the beginning of the application that she's married, so it is believed that her husband is still alive. If she had filled in a widow, this option will not come in. Fill in husband's name, surname, and then date of birth. Let's say 1/1/1965. Country of nationality. In my client's case, her husband is a Nigerian, so fill in Nigerian. This question is if your mother and your father are currently living together. If they are living separately, you can choose no. In my client's case, they are living together, so I'll say yes. Will they be traveling with you to the UK? If you're inviting the both of them together, like your mom and dad together, and you say yes, they'll give you the options to fill in their details, and this is to confirm that both of them will be traveling together. If not, fill in no. Then you can move to the next question. This question means if she has other children who are dependent on her, probably children or grandchildren. This is a good thing to fill in because this would also contribute to support her documents in the sense that, remember, the whole point of making this visa application is to prove that she has ties that will bring her back. Even if her husband is not alive and she has children she's looking after, maybe grandchildren or even direct children, it is good to fill that in here because that serves as a tie that can bring somebody back to their country. Your mom cannot have a grandchild or a child she's looking after and then come into the UK and disappear. The options here are if the person is under 18, if the person is over 18 but they stay with her, or if it's children she look after, or even someone older than her, maybe even her own mother. Whoever it is, as long as the person is financially dependent on her, she should say yes. Next question. Here is the part you fill in the details about the person who is dependent on her. By dependent, it just means someone who is under her care. So she can fill in the details of the person. Here, she's going to fill in the relationship of the person. Let's say the person is her grandchild. Whoever the person is, if it's her own mother, if it's her own child, whoever it is, fill in the relationship of the person. Surname, and then date of birth. You can fill in the date of birth of the person. Let's say 2001. Does the person currently live with her? Yes. And if the person is traveling with her to the UK, you can say no. If the person is also not living with her, she can fill in no. As long as the person is still financially dependent on her, the person still counts as her dependence. Next question. We're looking at if she has any other person that financially depend on her, fill in yes or no. In my client's case, it's no. If you say yes, they'll give you the option to fill in the person's details. This is the part where she's going to fill in details of her own parents. If she does not remember details of her parents, she can skip this part, but if she does, it's best she writes it. Even if her parents are late, she can fill them in. This is going to be mother's name, surname, and then date of birth of the mother. Let's say 0101, we're looking at 1930. Nigerian, in my client's case, she's Nigerian. And if they've always had the same nationality, this is if the parents of your mother have always been the same nationality, you can choose yes. If not, you say no and fill in the nationality they are. So filled in for mother, the next person is father. If your mom does not remember the details of her father, she can always skip. There's room to always leave one parent if you don't know the other parent. So we're going to put father's name, surname, date of birth, let's say 01/01/1925. Even if the parents are late, she can always fill it in. They are not going to contact them to ask, they just want to know. In this case, you have to select if they are the same nationality or not. Here, it's where she's going to fill in if she has any family in the UK. In this case, if you are the one who is inviting her, you can fill in yourself. If there's any other family member in the UK, she can fill in any other family member she has in the UK. So in this case, I'll say yes. And I'll go ahead and fill in the details of my client, which is the daughter. And then I'll fill in the daughter's name, surname, country of nationality, Nigerian in this case. And what permission do they have in the UK? You have to select the appropriate visa type that relates to you. Temporary visa is someone who is under student visa, someone who is under tier 2 work visa, someone who is under all these visas that have a certain amount of years the person is supposed to be in the UK. This is for temporary visa. And if the person is already like a citizen or they have their independent leave to remain, they can choose permanently. If they do not have any visa at all or they are not in the UK permanently, you can select this one. If they don't have any relative there, you can also select this one. Selecting this one, it means that the person is either maybe their previous visa has expired, they are waiting for a new visa, or they are exempt from immigration control, or they are not in the UK legally. Whichever one, fill in the details here appropriately. So my own client has a temporary visa, she's on a work visa, and you can fill in the person's passport number. Then we'll move on to the next question. If there are any other relatives in the UK, you can always fill that in here. It's just for them to know how many people you have in the UK. So if there is no other person in the UK, you say no. If not, you can say yes and move on. This part is for where they would know if your mom will be traveling alone or if she'll be traveling as a group. For instance, if she's going with a study group or a work group. In this case, my client is not doing that, so I'll say no. But if your mom will be doing that, you can say yes and fill in appropriately. Here, she also states if she's traveling alone or if she'll be traveling with somebody else, like her husband or any of her dependents. In this case, my client is traveling alone, so I'll say no. But if yours is traveling, you can state yes and then fill in the other person's details. In this question, they want to know where your mom will be staying when she comes to the UK. For my client, she'll be staying in her daughter's house, which is, you're going to tick that she'll be staying in her daughter's house. If there is someone else she'll be staying in the person's house, you click that here, and then they'll give you the options to fill in who the person is and the details of the person. So we'll move on to the next question. This is the part where she will fill in the details for my clients, and I will put in her phone number and her email address, and then the address of the daughter. This is also going to be if the only place your mom will be visiting is your place. You can fill this in to correspond with the dates that she'll be traveling that you filled in previously. I'm going to fill in the same dates I filled in previously because my client's mom will be staying in her own house only. Move on to the next question. This is also going to be if she has somewhere else she will stay apart from your own place. You can fill that in here. If there is no other place she will stay, just say no and move on to the next question. If you say yes, you can fill in the details appropriately. Now this is for them to know if she has visited the UK in the last 10 years. If your mom has visited any time within the last 10 years, this is the part where you say yes. No matter what the circumstance of the previous travel is, maybe she stayed beyond what she's supposed to stay, just fill it in here and leave it to them to make the decision. If you say no and she had come in before, you're already putting your application in problem. You can state how many times she has come to the UK in the last 10 years. If she has not visited the UK in the last 10 years, you can go ahead and say no. My client has not done that, so I'm going to say no and then move on. This is also if she has visited any other country in the past 10 years. These top countries. If she has visited any of these, you can go ahead and state how many times she has visited. If she has not visited any of these countries, just say no, 0, and move on to the next question. They want to know if she has visited any other country in the last 10 years that is not part of this listed country. If you're not sure which country they mean, you can always click this to see which ones they're talking about. In this case, my client has not visited any, so I'm going to go ahead to the next question. This is also for them to know if she has ever applied for visa previously to the UK or any other country and it was denied. If at any point your mother has applied for any visa at all in the past, no matter the reason for the refusal, please say yes and then give them details. Even if you say no and your mom has been denied a visa before, they would still find out. There are some reasons that are not stopping the visa officers from approving her current visa. So it's best to state the reason and leave the decision in their hands. In my client's case, she has not been refused any visa. Not just the visa refusal, if she has also been refused entry into the border or refused the permission to stay or remain at any point, or if she has applied for asylum before but she didn't get it, if she has been deported, removed, or required to leave, or even banned, please state it and give the details appropriately. Now they want to know if she has breached any of the UK law, maybe the time she has come in before, if she has tried to come in illegally, if she has stayed beyond her visa, or she has breached any condition at all, or even provided a false information in any of her past visa. Please state that here. Not giving an honest answer again can jeopardize the application, and this is the reason why it's good when your mom comes to visit, try to ensure she doesn't do anything that is going to implicate her future applications. Most importantly, she shouldn't stay beyond 6 months, because any of the visas she applied for, even if it's a 10 years visa, she can only stay maximum 6 months at once. Then she goes back to her country, stay for a while before she comes back again. I gave detailed information about all you need to know regarding visa application in a guide video. I've left the link in the description below. Do well to check it out because there's so much information you will find very useful there. Going to the next question now. This is to know if she has had any convictions in the UK or any other country. You can go through and then see which one she has done. If there is none, just go ahead and say no, she has not had any of these. Next question is if she has been involved in any war crime. None for my client. If you're not certain what war crime is all about, please read and then be sure that your mom has not been involved in any of that. So I'll go to the next question. This is for them to know if your mom is involved in any terrorist kind of activities or stuff like that. So read them one after the other and be sure you're answering the questions appropriately. In my client's case, she has not been involved in any of this. I'm going to move on to the next question now. If she has been involved in any extremist views, my client has not been. You can go through these documents and the one in the previous page to know what they mean. So next question, they also want to know if you've been a person of good character. They want to know if you've engaged in certain things. In my client's case, no. So no, there are none. In this case, they want to know if your mom has worked in any of these employments like armed forces, intelligence services, the public administration, or media, or whichever one. Select appropriately if your mom has. For my client, she has not. Next question. This is where you will state any additional information if you have any about your application. In most of the applications I've done, there is really nothing for me to fill in there. But if there's anything you want to fill in at any point, you want to clarify anything which you feel they did not ask you in any of the previous questions, this is the time for you to state it. If there is none, you can just move to the next question. They are just giving you a quick look at what you filled in previously, so you can quickly go through it and see if there's any correction you need to make. If there's anything you feel that you've missed, you can always click the change button. The change button is on every part of the application, so when you click on the change button, you can go back and make the correction. If you go through everything and you see that everything is in order, then you can now go to the next part of the application. For these documents parts, they are just showing you what you need to submit. You can always add more documents, but these ones they've listed here are the ones you are expected compulsorily to submit. You on your own can decide, okay, I have other documents that will support this application. Feel free to add that. The compulsory number 1 document is her passport. So you have to tick the documents you'll be providing, which is basically all of them. And then after the passport, the other documents are the evidence of funds, which is proof of funds. Your mom must not have her own personal bank account for you to use as a statement of fund. in most of the applications I've done, their mothers do not have a personal bank account. You can use her husband's bank account as long as the details of the bank account matches what she filled in previously as the details of her husband. Another bank account you can use is a general family bank account. In an application, I have used a family bank account where the children of the parents were the owners of the account. They had like a family POF kind of thing where all the children were putting money there for their general use. The name on the bank account has the same surname with their mother, so I was able to use that as the statement of account and the application went through. You can also use the statement of account of one of the children. You just need to be sure that any statement of account you're using, you can bring all the necessary details on the account. If you feel you don't have any of this, it is best you hold on with your application, create a bank account for her, even if it's an online bank account. Then you can focus on building the account. Once that is done, you can come back to this application. The next document needed is evidence of support. This is the part where you, the sponsor, will provide your own statement of accounts. And then this evidence of relationship, if it's your own mother, for instance, your birth certificate is an evidence of relationship. You can also include pictures of you and your mom. This can also be added as an evidence of relationship. The next document is evidence that your sponsor is not or will not be in breach of UK immigration law at the time of your visit. What this means is you, the sponsor, need to provide either your BRP or your BRC or your passport. They just want to see your details and be sure you are legally in the UK as at the time of the visit. An invitation letter from your UK-based family. I will attach a template for this in the description box. This is a template for invitation into the UK. I'm going to leave this in the description below if you would like access to it. Here they are just letting you know that once you submitted this application now and you've made your payment, either you take all these documents physically to the visa application center in your country, or you can upload them in the place where they will show you. Here they are just letting you know what can happen to you if you come to the UK without permission. You can be detained, if you cannot work because you not even have papers to work, and all the other things. And most importantly, they want her to leave once her visa ends. If not, she'll be deported and she'll be banned from the UK. You don't want that. Once you've read all of this, you can go ahead and confirm that you understand these and move on to the next question. Reading this is just for you to state that your mom is above 18 years, which is she who is the one making the application, and then I'll move on to the next question. Once that is done, you can go ahead and click continue. They will then ask you how many years visa you intend to get for her. I gave very vital information in the video guide I attached in the description box. Do well to check it out because it's going to explain to you why 6 months is a very good time for you to pick if it's the first time you are doing the application for your mother. Whatever you choose here, the maximum you can stay part-time is 6 months. So my client is going for 6 months, so I'll take 6 months and I'll move on to the next. She's taking 6 months because this is the first time. Usually they charge the visa fee in US dollar even though it's a UK application. If you have a pounds account, you can always use that to pay. They will help you to convert it. But be sure to check with your bank to know if they have any extra charges for converting. Move on to the next question. Now this is where they will ask you to pay. Because I used dummy details in my application, I'm going to go back now and then fill in the correct details and then make the payments. Just keep in mind that once you've gone past here and you make the payments, there is no more corrections you can make. The details have been submitted, you can't correct anything. So you have to be sure you go back and check all your answers once again. Sometimes I would even advise people to download the PDF. This would give you the form that you'll find the details, the entire details of what you filled in here from start to finish. Once you've read everything, you can then come back and make your payments. To make a payment, they'll ask you for your card details. Once you've made the payment and they give you a successful email, then they will redirect you to the VFS Global, where you can now choose to upload your documents, or you choose to take your documents to the center for them to upload it for you. There you can also choose if you want a priority or a super priority service. These services are if you want a decision on the visa within a day or within 5 days. That is if you're in a hurry. If you're not in a hurry, just leave it for the standard 2 to 3 weeks. And that is it. The visit visa for your mother done and dusted. The next thing is to wait for the appointment date you've selected. Your mom should go there. The visa will be sent to her address, or she would have to come back to pick it up depending on the service you choose. And she will choose it on that day of the biometric. If it's going to go beyond 2 weeks, they'll send you an email to let you know it's going to take longer. Once the visa has been sent, the next thing is to book the flight ticket, which I would recommend you hold on until the visa is out before you book. Because if you book before, sometimes there could be delay in when the visa comes out. Sometimes there could be something along the line, and sometimes we don't pray, they won't approve it. So there is always a chance that you can reapply even after it has been rejected, depending on why it has been rejected. I explained this in another video. I wish you good luck when you apply. It's going to be good news, and do well to come back and share the good news with us when you've received it. Don't forget to also like, subscribe, and leave your questions below if you have any. I am so open to answer all your questions. When you need clarifications, just leave it in the comment section.